Congratulations, you are still alive. Most people are so ungrateful to be alive. But not you. Not anymore.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Good. This is the intro to my podcast, just so you know.
I love it.
That's
Welcome. Hi.
Straight, sharp to the point, we're here.
Yeah.
Okay, and can you, because I know who you are, I'm looking at your lovely face, can you please tell people a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Jem, better known as Jem the Piercer. I am a professional body piercer of 6 years, and I am now also a donor service nursing assistant with Australian Red Cross Lifeblood. So yeah, gory stuff. Woohoo! I am also one half of the Young and the Restless podcast with the PopCulturist of Ryan Betson, who did an earlier episode of this show with you.
Yeah, he was my first episode, Candyman. Mm-hmm. He was, he didn't realise that he was going to be the first episode. He was just like, oh god, I'm number one. And I was like, yeah, dude, you're number one.
Yeah.
We're doing it. So, what I'd like you to do is, can you, in about 30 seconds, give us a pitch for the movie you've chosen to talk about?
Okay, so we're talking about Saw today. Saw, the best way to describe it is like a psychological thriller horror designed around one dude who's a bit sick, and he's sick of people taking life for granted because he's sick and they're not, so he's showing them what it's like to be in that dire, like, oh no, I'm gonna die, like this, like, you know, I want you to be grateful for your life if you get out of this because I'm dying and I don't have much left, is the best way, I guess.
It's such a good, like, lesson to learn. And you never think about that when it comes to horror movies, that you're going to learn a lesson. It's kind of crazy. Because I'm putting together YouTube videos at the moment where I do look at this kind of stuff, but from a sociological perspective.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'm going to do one on morality in Saw, and, like, the whole concept of, is this moral? Like, where are the morals here in trying to teach people to enjoy, like, give it an ethical lesson, and how is it non-ethical in the execution?
Yeah, and it's really interesting because it is not your normal sort of, it's not your normal concept for this kind of movie. Like, it really does give it that different sort of twist, and that's what really engages me. I'm a sucker for, like, real psychological type stuff, like knowing how brains work, and yeah, it really does, like, as the movie progresses, you see it all sort of pan out, like, as it would psychologically for anyone, and it really is, like, a really cool concept.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie because I think I was 15 when I saw it.
About the same, yeah.
Yeah, I was always into psychological thrillers. Like, I've really always enjoyed those types of movies, and, you know, like, police investigation movies. And so I kind of saw this as that vein of genre in the whole, like, police trying to find the bad guy, not as a horror movie.
Yeah. It's an interesting mix because you see it from both sides. Because, like, one of my other favorite psychological sort of horror movies is a movie called Cube, and it's all designed around what's going on in that. So there's no police stuff or anything going on. So having this going on in this movie really gives it that fun little twist to it as well. And obviously we'll talk about it as it goes on, but it really plays into the psychological side of everybody, not just, you know, the jigsaw killer and the people in the room, but the way it affects the police as well. It's really, like, it's really well done, and especially from some Aussie dudes too, some Melbourne guys. So
the movie released in 2004 to, like, a test screening in the January, and they were going to release it straight to DVD. So it was going to go straight to movie, don't even worry about a release. But there was such a huge hype that they planned a huge, like, screening, like, premiere screening for it in the October following that.
Wow.
And yeah, so after that, every single Saw movie released in October. So you were guaranteed that for Halloween, you were going to see a Saw movie. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the drawing factors to me as well, was that it was done by a local team. Like, it's just like, nothing's more exciting than being like, oh god, this is done by Aussies, like Melbourneians specifically. I'm one of them.
Well, it was James Wan and Lee. I hate like his last name. Like I said to you before, WH for me makes an F noise because I have friends with WH as their first name, like in their first name, and it's a F sound. So, but I'm pretty sure it's just Winnell. I'm thinking that's how it's said. And they were from RMIT, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they did screen and production at RMIT. And so they wrote this in 2001. It failed heaps getting the script across the line. And then eventually they took it to Los Angeles and produced a short film. And in that they had, I can't remember, it might have been Lee. He was in that reverse bear trap that we see later on in the film.
Ah, yes.
And that was this short that they put together and pitched it. And it was picked up in 2003 by a production company called Evolution Entertainment, and I don't know much about that. But what they did was they created a production label called Twisted Pictures, and that's what released Saw eventually. And they gave them a budget of $1.2 million.
Wow.
Guess how much it grossed at the box office?
How much?
$103 million.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Good job.
100 times the amount that they spent on it.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's so good.
And they filmed the entire film in 18 days.
Oh, no way!
Yeah.
That's even more baffling, because to me, like, the way it's all put together, it definitely seems like it's a very long-winded process, because there's a lot of elements to this movie. But the fact that they've put it together so quick, that's insane.
Well, see, that's the funny thing. That all those elements are filmed inside a warehouse. So because of their restricted budget, they didn't do a lot of different locations at different places, you know, because it costs money to get there. And so they built every set inside a warehouse.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Now that you mention that, I'm thinking back to, like, a scene where they've got, like, a photo of somebody being at Larry's house.
Yeah.
With the family, the mother and daughter, and, like, the windows are very warehouse windows now that I think about it. That's wild.
They look like they live in a warehouse. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Reading all this stuff, and because I'll sometimes research a movie, and because this is one of my top 5 horror movies, I was just like, I need all the fun facts for this episode.
100%.
Because I am not I'm not an Eli Roth torture porn fan. But Saw, and the way it was not doing it for the sake of doing it. Yeah. There was a reason that they were creating the movies the way that they did, with the gore that they did, with the torture that they did. It wasn't a unnecessary level of gore. Yeah. It was realistic. You know, like if you got in that situation and, you know, you land in a pool of needles, like this is what's going to happen to you.
Yeah, exactly right. And like I said before, it is one of those movies, especially at such a young age for both of us first watching it. It is a really good entry-level movie into that sort of world. Yeah. So for me, it was the first movie that I actually sat down on my own and watched, because I was petrified of those sorts of movies.
Oh,
you know, my brother used to hold me down and force me to watch them as a child. So like, it took me a long time.
Pickles is going to make a guest appearance.
Welcome, Pickles.
Every time.
I love it.
Come on. What do you want?
Oh, so cute.
This is Pickles.
Hello, Pickles. You're so cute.
She is. You want to go on my bed? There you go. She just wants to come in here and fuck shit up.
She's come to party.
Stop. Okay, you can come in here, but I don't want to hear you. You can be seen and not heard. Come on. Come here. Sit on my lap. Come on.
So cute.
My grandma must be in the shower.
Ah.
Okay, there you go.
Not getting enough attention.
Oh, yeah. She should have heard her at my door this morning. Ned and I were trying to sleep, and it's just like, because her claws aren't really that long because she's so small, and it's just like a rough noise on the door, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but now she's watching the screen on Audacity. She likes that. Don't you? Hey. Don't you scratch that.
That's why I have to lock my cats out, because they will walk up straight over the top of my laptop and just fuck shit up.
Oh yeah, she's trying to. No, because you're gonna exit something on my keyboard. Not allowed.
Yep. My cats do the same.
Yeah. So in saying, when we were talking about that budget, according to the BBC, the Saw, and I don't know if they're talking about like the franchise or that movie in particular, it is one of the most profitable horror movies of all time.
Wow.
Which makes sense, when they're, like, I know you can use the word quadrupling or tripling or doubling. What do you call it? Centuring.
Yeah. Yeah, they've literally baffling.
It's amazing. And I think two Australian dudes.
Yeah.
And I feel, and I was saying this to somebody a couple of weeks ago, that Australian horror movies are just a real, there's something about them. There's just something so different about them. Yeah,
I can agree. Obviously, like, I think with American films and stuff like that, it really is, like, it's Hollywoodized. Like, it's really, like, just, it's romanticized and just way too, like, overdone and over-exaggerated, whereas, like, these guys have really put it... Yeah, exactly it. They've just put it, like, we're just real, like, straight to the point, like, real on top of it. So it's like... Yeah. There's no piss fighting around, no, like, crazy cinematics or anything like that. It's just, like, this is how it would play out. This is how it is. Like,
it's really raw. If anything. Yeah.
And you could see yourself in that position. Like, it's like they've put themselves in that position and said, like, this is how we would react in that situation.
Yeah, like in Wolf Creek. That movie terrifies me.
Yeah, I've watched it once and I was like this the end, like looking through my fingers the entire time. That's just one that I still.
Did you ever meet the singer of Storm the Sky?
Yes.
That's his dad. John Jarrett is his dad.
No way.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And his mum is like Noni.
Yeah, from Play School.
Yeah.
It's amazing because I used to go to gigs and see if he was at a Sydney show, because his mum and dad live in the eastern suburbs. And so you'd see his dad at shows and people would be freaking out watching him in the crowd, and I'd be like, it's Will's dad.
Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah, it's so sad because I love that band. I love them so much.
That's so fun. I know, just on the subject of, like, people with famous parents, a friend of mine races classic motorcycles.
Oh, wow.
And I met the Hemsworth's dads because she races against him in classic motorcycles. No way!
That is so cool.
I met their old man, yeah. It was wild.
That's amazing. Is he really cool, like them?
He's super chill, yeah. He's real chill. Yeah.
They're from, like, Byron Bay, aren't they?
I think so. And he's humble as hell. Like, she beat him out in a competition and he came over and just like, hey, awesome work, man. Like, he was real humble about it. It was awesome.
That's so cool. My great-grandfather used to ride Harleys.
Oh,
and
cute.
He made so much money this was like in the 30s, that he retired at 32 years old or something.
Oh, wow.
Throughout, like, just before the Great Depression.
Yeah, living the dream.
Yeah, I'm retiring. I've made enough money. I was like, what? Hi, I'm 30. Can I retire now?
Yeah, I'm feeling the same. I just had to start a second job. Like, this is not fair.
I just started tutoring kids, so... Yeah. Kill me now. And that's only for $30 an hour. I was like, look, $30 on my credit card every week. Have it paid off in no time.
That's pretty good. That's about what I'm making with the second job, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, that sounds heaps good.
Yeah.
My sister's in aged care and gets like $21 an hour.
Oh, wild.
It's rude.
Yeah.
It's rude. I don't like it. Definitely. I was in hospitality earning, $26, $27 an hour?
Yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous, huh?
Hospitality is probably just as bad, like, if not worse, than retail.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I can agree, definitely. I'm very lucky to do the two jobs that I do. So
yeah. All right, let's dive into this movie. So I've got my notes. I know that I didn't send you our prep notes, but we both rewatched the movie, so we're sweet.
Yes.
Cool. So the opening scene is the bathroom. Well, we don't really know it's a bathroom yet.
Yeah.
It's just a dark room.
Yes.
And Adam is in there. His name is Adam Stenheit, and he is actually played by Lee Winnell.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the writer of the film, who helped write the script and like the narrative, he is in the movie. He's one of the main characters.
Best person to do it, I say.
Yeah, and I think he was really great in it, to be honest.
Yeah, so, definitely.
How did he get rid of his Australian accent, though?
Oh, look, I'm fascinated with Margot Robbie and how she can do it. Like, it's amazing how good voice coaches can be to help people, like, forget that they have, like, the most bogan accents.
Because I was going to say, yeah, all Aussies sound really bogan, so...
Yeah, exactly. You listen to Margot Robbie speak, she sounds like the biggest bogan.
Hold on, Pickles is scratching me. Get off me! I don't want to be your friend. Okay, she's out.
1, 2, 3, go.
She was not happy when I told her I didn't want to be her friend.
Yeah. That's
so,
fine.
Get out. So he also sees across the room Dr. Lawrence Gordon, played by Carrie Elwes? E-L-W-E-S. How do you even say that? Yules? Yules. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
That's how you say, what's the female sheep called? A ewe?
A ewe, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yules?
That sounds, yeah, I think so. I'm really bad at English.
Yeah, I suck with names.
I'm so bad. Then the light goes on. It flashes on those really odd fluorescents that come on. And from what I read today, the film originally got a certain rating in America because of the lighting and, like, the aesthetic tone. Not because of the content.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so it got like I don't know what an NC-17 is.
Oh, it's like our MA, basically.
Oh, okay, because it is an MA film here, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that makes sense. But the reasons that they gave it that is because of the lighting and the tone of the film. I was like, that's so weird.
Interesting.
I like it, though. I was like,
yeah, definitely.
Not even the content. It's just...
Yeah. It's
the
just got
aesthetic.
that dark, grim filter, so... must be for adults.
They got some Instagram filters out and...
Yeah! Just a little bit of lo-fi.
Do you remember the first Instagram filters, though?
Oh,
they
yes.
were horrible.
Yeah, they were wild.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah.
So
crazy borders and stuff.
Yeah. There's a man in the middle of the room in this really danky bathroom. Actually, Adam wakes up in a bathtub. Yes. That's right, and falls out. And that's really important in the film to remember. So
that's what causes that dark entrance, is like the idea is that you're waking up as him underwater in that bathtub, and he jumps up out of it.
Yeah, well, they used 2 different cameras for the 2 characters, for Adam and for Larry. So with Larry, they used like wide panning shots that moved quite slowly, and with Adam, they used a handheld, like to give it more of like a very what's the word? You're anticipating something, and it's like really like disjointed, and I think that's to show the contrast in the 2 characters, maybe, or to show the situation and how they're feeling. I'm not too sure, but you can definitely see the difference between the 2 like techniques used. Mm-hmm. And so they we're in here. How the hell did we get here? And they so they end up finding the
tapes.
Yes, in their pocket there's tapes.
Yes, Yeah.
Because I've written my notes before this bit, and I was like, why is that there? That's meant to be down here.
Yeah.
And so Adam, the corpse in the middle of the room actually has the recorder. And so he gets it, and Adam is told that he needs to escape, while Gordon's tape tells him he needs to kill Adam by 6 o'clock, or his wife Allison and his daughter Diana will be killed.
Yes.
And so I really like how this tape opens up and basically says, you might be in the room that you die in. I was like, oh, what's gonna... Oh. And it's because it's been so long since I've watched this as well, like at least maybe 8 years since I watched... Because I watched, like, the whole franchise that was out at the time, so...
Yeah.
I think Saw 5 was just coming out.
Yeah, I was about the same.
Yeah. Getting ready to watch them all.
Yeah.
But, so they are in this, the bathroom is just really, it really sets a mood, doesn't it?
It
It's
does.
really-
I think, like you were saying before, with the different camera styles and just the whole setup and the lighting and just the mood of the whole room, it really does set it up. Like, you can see those two different perspectives, from each character, as well as, like, the mood. Just, it really does set the scene for, like, something that you'd expect that type of scene to go in on. Like, if I was in that situation, I'd expect to be in a really decrepit, like, some, like, old, about to be demolished warehouse. Like, you'd expect to be put somewhere where nobody's going to think about it. And
Nobody's going to even think to look for you there.
Yeah, exactly right. And it really does set that tone.
And it's just like, well, I'm going to die in here. Excellent.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
Right.
I know that that's what's going to happen here.
Yeah,
So-
especially when you see Larry, like, pushing on that door and he just can't get it open.
Yeah, that door is, that's concerning.
Yeah.
Because we later learn it's a sliding door. So maybe
Yes.
if he had just slid the door.
Instead of pushing, maybe if you had a sort of, yeah.
Maybe you would've
that
got him
slide
out,
sideways,
Larry.
not out. Yeah. Ruined everything.
I just remembered that because I was like, wait, at the end the door slides open.
Yeah, exactly right. Which, again, like,
Idiot.
at the end of the movie, you see things that are just like, holy shit, this could have ended a totally different way.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that gets me with this movie as well, is there's so many different endings that this one scenario could take.
Yeah, and I think it
that's so
sets that up.
fascinating. Mm-hmm.
And that's with all the movies as well, because in the second one there's 8 people, I think, and they're all together.
Yes, in that one
Yeah.
house or something.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a cube scenario.
Yeah, exactly right.
But everyone goes through each of their own fears, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
the needle
exactly
bath.
right.
That will stick with me.
Yeah,
forever.
yeah. So obviously that's Amanda, which we will
Yes.
speak about later in the movie. But yeah, one of the things that did draw me into this movie as well is I am a huge Becca fan. And the chick that plays Amanda plays the secretary in Becca.
Yeah.
And when I saw her face in the ad, I was like, I want to see what else she can do. Because she
Yeah.
played that bimbo so well that, like, I just wanted to see what else was in her repertoire. And, like,
Yeah.
watching the Saw franchise go along, like, she's what kept me engaged. Even from,
Yeah.
like, the word go in this movie. She just played her character so well.
She's Shawnee Smith?
I think so, yes.
Or Shanae? Because her name's like Shawnee. So
Yeah. I've always pronounced it as Shawnee.
Yeah, that sounds right to me, I think. So, basically, they end up finding the hacksaws in the back of the toilet.
Yes.
And Adam going into that toilet made me want to heave.
Yeah.
Because
definitely.
he's heaving, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
stop.
And then it's like, I should have just opened the cistern. I think that's
Yeah.
another thing that I loved about it too, is like, Jigsaw's such a calculated, like, dude. Like, you see Larry listening to that tape a couple of times before he's like, the toilet, and he notices the love heart on it. He's like,
Yeah.
the toilet, because he said something about, something about the word heart in the end of that tape real subtly, which is just those little setups, which is really fascinating.
And it's kind of because, he's put them on a time limit as well.
Yes.
And he's just like, are they going to figure out my riddles? Are they going to figure out the puzzles and the seeds that I'm planting along the way for them to maybe get out of here? You don't know.
Which is interesting that he sets them up to succeed.
Yeah, he
Those
does.
little Yeah, it's literally like a jigsaw puzzle. Like if you figure it out, you can succeed.
You can put it all together. You put the pieces together, you're done. But
exactly it. It's so fascinating.
the only thing with this one is that one of them's guaranteed to die.
But were they? That's the thing.
Because he
like,
says
when it comes
to
to the
Adam,
end of the
you've got to
movie-
escape.
Yeah.
But Gordon, you've got to kill Adam. Well, Larry's got to kill Adam. Yeah.
Yeah. But, like I said, when it comes to that end of the movie and we find out what the whole, like, how the whole thing could have been different, both of them probably could have survived it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's really fascinating how it all works.
Because, Adam could have just gotten out, gone and gotten help, come back.
Well, I figure, like, with that, you know, I feel like being the same sort of setup, they'd be the same key for the same locks. So...
Yeah.
Yeah, if we're jumping ahead, you do notice right at the start of the movie as Adam's getting up, you see like a light go down the drain. Turns out, right at the end of the movie, that is the key to get them out of there.
And he has like a little flashback to it going down the drain.
Yeah, down the drain,
oh,
yeah.
fuck.
Yeah, exactly it.
So they could have both gotten out of there alive.
Yeah, and that's what's so fascinating about the whole different, like, there's so many different, it's like a choose your own story type thing.
Yeah, like a Goosebumps book where you get to choose your own ending.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's what I loved
books.
about it. Yeah, and that's what I loved about it. I was so sucked into Goosebumps as a kid. So I think that sort of, pick your own ending thing is really sort of fascinating to me, even though, like, it's not me picking the ending. It's like, this could have gone so many different ways.
Yeah, for me, I always used to deny that I was, like, the creepy horror lover kid.
Yeah.
And then I look back and I'm like, I had Goosebumps, I liked all the spooky movies, I watched The Ring at like 12 years old.
Yeah, yeah. I went from fairies and butterflies to like Nightmare Before Christmas and all that sort of
I didn't even go to the fairies and butterflies. It was just straight to
no.
Nightmare Before Christmas and setting my Barbie camper van on fire while I pushed it down the hill at my dad's. That was my cousin's idea. He planted that seed in my head and I was like, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, that's great.
Let's set the camper van on fire and push it down the hill near your house.
I love it.
All my Barbies out the top like, setting her on fire.
Oh, God. They're on a timer. If the Barbies don't get out by a certain time, they'll set on fire. I want to play a game, Barbie.
Oh my God, that was me as a kid.
Oh, I love it.
But I deny that I was that messed up. But, you know, don't tell
it's
anyone.
beneficial now. You've got a podcast out of it.
Exactly. So, they realise that they can use the hacksaws to cut through their chains, which doesn't work for Adam because his breaks.
Yes.
And Larry's like, wait a second. We have to cut through our ankles to get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's terrifying.
Yes.
Like having to inflict that pain on yourself and making the decision that you are so desperate to get out of that situation. Obviously, Larry is to save his wife and his daughter.
Yeah.
But, like, oh.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, straight after this, it does come to light. Like, you know, Adam's like, how do you know that? And Larry's like, because I have a feeling I know who's doing this.
Yeah.
Because it brings you into the story of previous Jigsaw killings and what's happened with them.
Yeah.
So, like, for instance, there's an episode with one guy who they find, like, wrapped up in barbed wire who was trying to find his way out. And the reason that was done was because he tried to slit his wrists or something like that. And
he had tried to commit suicide. And
and
Jigsaw's like, you want to take your own life? You want to do that? I was like, oh, that's mean.
Yeah, if you're going to know what it really feels like to cut yourself, you have to get through this barbed wire. And if you don't do it in, like, by 3 p.m. or whatever, in 3 hours, the door slams shut.
You're stuck in here. Yeah. I really liked that scene where they kind of fast forward in like a disjointed fast forward, like his movement through the maze, and I was like, I love it. It makes me feel so sick.
And that green color palette just sets that mood as well. That like sick feeling of like, you know.
Well, that's because he cut his stomach open and his bile leaked out, and I was like, green bile. That's why the room's green.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really fascinating how they've put those elements together. And then there was another one with a guy that was like, he had numbers all over the walls, and he had a candle and a safe, and he had to figure out the code to this safe. But he had to be careful because he was covered in a substance that if he ignited would like burn him, which obviously is what happened.
Yeah, because he had a poison in his system and needed the antidote. But they didn't say why he was
there.
Yeah, maybe I know he would have, because they listened to the tapes, like the detectives, which is Denny Glover and I think Ken Leong.
Yes.
Yeah, who play detectives Tap and Sing Sing.
Yes.
So yeah, which are really cool. So that's what brings in like that crime investigation element, where I really enjoyed that juxtaposition between them trying to find Jigsaw and then like what led up to the situation that they're in now.
Yes. Yeah, exactly right.
Because Adam's like, how do you know all this stuff? And he's like, well, I was a suspect.
Yeah, exactly it. Because he's at one of the crime scenes. He's the second one, I believe, the one with all the barbed wire and stuff like that.
Oh no, the second
Larry's
one's the one with the glass.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, Larry's pen was found there. He's like his pen light from the hospital. So that's what sort of put him in as a suspect. And then he goes on to talk about how he was taking it in. And then so far the only survivor, Amanda, she was brought in to tell her story.
Yeah. Which was intense. Watching that scene. This is probably my favourite scene in the entire movie.
Yeah.
Because of how, it made me distressed.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of the movies in the Saw franchise that have just those timed moments, which I think a lot of them are, where, you know, they've only got like 3 minutes to do something and you're like, just hurry up. And because when, you know, Jigsaw, like the puppet comes up on the screen and he's like, you know, you've got a timer, you've got to get the key, it's in your cellmate's stomach. Yeah. And she's got like this contraption that just looks painful as it is on her head.
Yeah, and she does mention all she can taste is blood and metal, so it would have been, like I believe it was attached to her upper and lower mandibles.
Yeah, I think it's in, like, her mouth, like a claw. Yeah. And
bear traps scare me as is. Having a reverse one in my mouth is petrifying. Because you see how quickly they snap. Going the other way, like, you just know it's not going to look nice.
They showed the video where she's just like, okay, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Yeah, and it's not until she gets up that she actually starts the timer, and this is where I get distressed. Yeah, because she's like screaming, like trying to get this off her face. I'm like, no, you know where the key is. But I know that if I was in that situation, I'd do the exact same thing.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're like, oh no, I'd go straight to the body, but you know that you wouldn't. You wouldn't. You'd be like, shit, what can I do to get this off? Like, especially because it wasn't until she stood up that timer triggered. Yeah, and that's where like fight or flight hits, and you're like, shit, get it off. And then it takes you, like, a minute to be like, oh, shit. And it's like the movie gives the illusion of, like, it being a 60-second timer, but I'm pretty sure it's about a 60-minute timer. So I think she's got an hour on hold. But the way the movie sets it up with that whole, like, it makes you feel like it's only a 60-second thing. Like, it really does set that anticipation, which is what sort of gets you on the edge of your seat. Like, is she going to do it? Is she going to do it? Like,
and I mean, I've seen this movie 100 times. But I will still freak out watching this scene.
Yeah, me too. It really is one of those scenes, like, it shows why the movie was such a success, because it is so captivating in that respect.
It really is. And it's because it's stuff that had never been done before. Yeah. Like, this concept had never been done before, and it's just so amazing. And, you know, like, we have our slashers with our supernatural antagonists and murderers, and, you know in Nightmare on Elm Street it's going to be Freddy Krueger, and you know he's going to come into your dreams, and you know exactly what's going to happen. You can basically tell the story without even watching the movie. Yeah. But this is just something next level that I just appreciate so much in, like, the cinematography, the music I'm not even aware of, really.
Atmosphere is everything.
it's more the sound of, like, the contraptions and the soaring and gunshots that really set everything off rather than any music.
Yeah.
And normally I'm a sucker for, like, a good score in a film, but this just didn't need it.
Yeah, it's definitely like, you compare a movie like this to, say, a movie like Hostel, where it is just like that heavy-based gore. And it is just like, you know, they're literally killing for fun. Whereas like Jigsaw's like, it's not the same thing. Every episode is tailored to every person that he puts in that scenario. And, you know, like Amanda even says in her interview, she's like, you know, I was a drug addict. Like, he helped me.
Yeah.
So he really does, like, he really is out there to try and make people like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, really appreciate their life for what it is. Like, you know, you don't really appreciate life until you think you're about to lose it, which is, you know, the situation that we find Jigsaw in, because it does sort of come out who he is throughout the movie. Yeah. And which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, and I think he's probably, and the thing is, like, I'm always on the fence. Is he a protagonist or is he the antagonist? Yeah. It's like, what role does he play in this? Like, I feel like he's a bit of both.
Yeah, and that's what gets
it's amazing. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
and
like,
this is what I was talking about, like, that morality thing. And it's just like, okay, these people have done some pretty fucked up shit, like, in their own rights. Yeah. And what he's doing's really messed up. But do they cross each other out?
Yeah, exactly. And it's that weird balance of like, oh, like, I get why he's doing it, but is it the right reason to be doing it? Like, it really does. Yeah, it really crosses that boundary of morality there. And
it really, like, pushes that thought in your brain too of, I kind of cheer for Jigsaw in some of the movies.
Sometimes, yeah, definitely.
Like, I'm just like, yeah, fuck yeah, you teach that dickhead. You teach him that lesson. And then I'm like...
But at the same time, you're like, oh, I wouldn't want to be in that situation.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't want to die like that. Oh, yeah.
Like, I think it's in the second one, the boxes with, like, the reverse, like, thing where you can go into them, but as you come out, the blades, like, contract against your wrists. That was the biggest petrifying factor for me. I remember for so long, Hungry Jacks on their boxes have the little X in the back to make it easier to fold open and close. For so long, I could not touch that thing because I was scared my finger was going to get trapped in that. Yeah, like, that's how psychological Saw gets ya.
And you're just like, oh, it's gotten me at work now, thanks.
Yeah, exactly it. And yeah, we'll talk about that later, but like, even gosh. I had an incident at work the other day that was just like, well, not so much an incident, but like, it's just part of the job. It happens sometimes, but I was just like, as I was watching the movie, I was waiting for this to happen.
Because you're like, I know this happens.
Yeah, I just want to see if it actually happens in the movie like it does in real life.
The only thing that concerns me about this scene with Amanda is that she cut open the stomach of a semi-conscious dude.
Yes, but
she thought was dead.
Yeah, he wakes up right before she attacks him.
Yeah.
But
I wonder what he did to get put there.
Yeah, that's what gets you too, is like there's so many reasons for it.
Why is he there?
Like, yeah,
are you there?
Apparently he's conscious, but he couldn't feel a thing because
they say that he was on heaps of drugs and
whatever. And which is obviously going to put the doctor in that sort of scenario as well, because he he has access to those things.
Yeah, well, he's an oncologist, so he'd have access to like some pretty hectic drugs.
Exactly right. So it really does set that tone for like how easy it could be misconstrued to have the wrong suspect.
Yeah, absolutely. And because Tap gets so obsessed with him as well.
Yes.
Like Danny Glover's character. And you know what really friggin' was so cool is that they filmed Danny Glover's scenes and Shawnee Smith's scenes in like 2 days.
Wild.
But they filmed the bathroom scenes across 6 days and in chronological order.
Oh, wow.
So that the characters, like the actors and characters, would feel the exact things that their the characters they were playing would have felt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
So they would have gone through the motions of it rather than doing like this really hectic scene and then doing a mellow scene. No, they like went from like 0 to 100 across like 6 days.
Yeah, and I think it's really good to do that as well, because that's sort of like I mean, basically it's like a day for an hour, essentially. Like it's basically set out in a 6-hour format. So you got 6 days, every day relates to each hour, and you sort of progressively seeing them getting more and more worn out. So exactly. It really just, it's just so seamless the way they've done it. And like for something that when you look back on it now, it's like an older sort of movie, it still holds up so well because it was so ahead of its time at the time.
Oh, absolutely. And I forget that it was made, 15, 16 years ago?
Yeah,
17
exactly.
years ago. Yeah.
I was watching it like, holy shit, like how was this released so long ago?
Yeah. Absolutely. And what's really cool is that because of their budget restrictions, because by the end of it they only had like $700,000 to spend.
Yeah.
So they had no time for rehearsals, and a lot of the film, like the footage in the film, was them rehearsing.
Wow.
Different scenes, and they'd be like, okay, that was great, cut it, put it in the film.
That's so cool because it gives it a more organic feel.
Absolutely. Because it's just like, some of those scenes, they would have gone in ready to do it and be like, okay, so how do I react in this situation? And that first go might have been the go.
Yeah, exactly.
And they would, one would have been like, yep, done, cool, love it, go.
Yeah.
And I feel like he did that in Paranormal Activity as well.
Yeah.
Because he wrote and directed that. That's such a good movie. Bloody
that's
Aussies.
One I haven't watched
we know what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing how much of a grip we have on it, how we're really not that like glamorized in those respects, and we really do bring out that real like gritty realness to it.
Yeah, I want to write a horror movie about a sleep paralysis demon.
Oh, that would be intense.
Yeah,
that would be so intense.
But it basically like stalks a group of 6 people, so they're all having like the same sleep paralysis demon dreams.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I just don't know how to write a script, so
yeah, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
There's so many like places you go that you're just like you see like old broken down buildings and stuff like that, and you're like, they probably filmed a Saw in that. Every time I go past like old buildings like that, I'm like, they probably filmed Saw there.
They put Saw in there. I drive past those and I'm like, someone cut somebody up in that building.
Yeah.
Like, that's where my brain goes. Or there's a ghost that haunts that.
Yeah, definitely.
Or, I'll just say to Nerd, I'll be like, ghosts live in that building, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm all about ghost tours and stuff like that. I'm all about
me too. When you come up to Sydney, we should go to the quarantine station.
Yes!
I've never been, but let's go.
Let's do it. I'm down.
All right.
I studied in a former mental hospital for 2 years. It was really cool.
Oh, see, psychiatric hospitals, like abandoned ones, actually terrify me.
Yeah. See, they turned one in Sunbury up into a Vic Uni. So it was an old mental hospital they turned into a university, and it was so spooky.
No, not for me.
I loved it. When the padded cells were still intact, it was great.
Oh no. See, my dad was in the army, and he was a military police officer, and so their old army jail has been there since like Holsworthy Army Base opened. So like, I don't even know, 1970s or something like that it opened. And I used to get told that if I was naughty, I'd be going to army jail.
Oh no!
And one time, Dad, we actually had to go in there, and they have a padded cell in there, and just that image scares the shit out of me. And my dad's like, we hardly ever had to use it.
Yeah.
But just the thought of it.
Creepy.
The army jail is terrifying. Looks like it's spooky.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. So that's probably explains why I'm as fucked up as what I am. Mentally. Yeah. And emotionally stunted because I was going to go to army jail.
Yeah.
Even like, a couple of years ago I actually did an Anzac service, like dawn service with my dad, and it's usually held at the MP barracks. Mm-hmm. And behind us was the army jail, and I was like, I hate it here. Yeah. I was 27 years old.
Oh, I love it.
Hold on. But Pickles, bugger off. Can I help you? Do you think you could have like told me that when I get off my phone call? She's like, it's garbage night. Put the bins out for me. I'm just like, you didn't want to tell me in like an hour when I'm done? No. Every time I do a podcast at night, she'll be like,
love it.
Can you just do this for me? Oh my god. What are you doing? I'm busy.
It's like
She
with
knows.
Young and the Wrestlers. We have Ryan's son James break in all the time.
Oh, yeah.
It's adorable.
He did it with us as well.
Yeah.
He's just like, hello. And he's like
so
dancing across the screen.
I know, he's so cute. He was like drawing us pictures one night. It was adorable. He's like, look, it's Gemma. And it was like this pink scribble. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet, buddy.
That looks just like me.
Yeah.
So, this is really cool. I really love this scene. So we're going back into, Larry has been released from custody. Or not custody, from his interview or whatever, because his alibi checked out, because he was with another woman.
Yes, which he has to admit.
Somehow, Tap and Singh have basically pieced together, from Amanda's video, where his Jigsaw's hideout is.
Yes.
And so they go there, and they find a man who's in a trap. And what really freaked me out and creeped me out is the diorama of the bathroom.
Yes.
I was like, no.
Yeah.
That's happening. That wasn't happening right then. That's like a future, like, this is my plan for the future.
Yeah. How many steps ahead he is just petrifying.
Yeah. Like you said, calculated. Like, everything is planned out.
Yeah.
And, so this is where, they end up shooting Jigsaw, but he escapes.
Yes.
Or did they shoot him?
They do shoot him.
They do.
So what happens is so Jigsaw's coming upstairs, so they hide themselves. And because they've found not only the dioramas, but that trap as well. So they cover it back up not to suspect anything and hide themselves. And then as Jigsaw comes up and he reveals the patient, he talks, the victim, and he talks about how, like, you are a test subject for this. So he must just pick people to actually test these traps on first.
Oh,
which is petrifying. Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
So he, as he does that, the detectives come out with their guns ablazing, like, just like put it down, and he's like, oh crap, like, I'm busted.
But he gives like a massive monologue as well.
Yeah, because he triggers the trap and he's like, you've got to do this. Basically, like, he saw this coming as well. It's like he's calculated this happening too.
Oh, it's nuts.
But I don't think he accounted for, I believe it's Sing Sing, is that his?
Oh, Sing. I must have put Sing Sing twice.
Yeah,
Sing Sing's a prison.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Sing, he doesn't, like, he's like, how do we get this guy out of it? And they're like, you got 20 seconds. And he's like, the keys are in the box over there. And it's a massive wad of keys. And, like, Sing's just like, I know, and whips out his handgun and just shoots the mechanisms off, which that's obviously something that Jigsaw didn't account for. So he ends up whipping out a blade and slicing Trap's throat. Like, and that gets me. That bit petrified me. Yeah. And then Sing's like, just stay here, like, you're gonna be alright, like, I'll go get him. And runs off after him with the shotgun. To which, like, immediately, like, Tap can tell that there's something wrong there, because you see him start to stagger out and down the stairs, like, don't do it. And then you see, as they're going through a hallway, Sing shoots Jigsaw in the back with the shotgun, and he drops, and as he slowly starts to walk up, he trips a wire and cops a shotgun straight to the head. Straight down. That was full on, that bit.
That really, that irked me.
Yeah,
like,
same.
I just was like, oh. Yeah. He knew every move. Like, he accounted for every possible move that was going to be made in that scenario.
Yeah, and it's crazy how calculated that is. Like, he's, for somebody who's dying of, like, a serious brain tumor or something like that, like, he's had a lot of time to think all of this through. I mean, what else are you going to do lying in a hospital bed? And, this is sort of where you put two and two together, is when you see, Larry in hospital talking about his patient, and somebody comes up and he's like, oh, his name is John. He's a very fascinating person. That's when it triggers that you're just like, the minute that guy says, oh, he's a really fascinating person, you're like, it's him.
Is that him? It's him.
No, like, yeah, the guy in the bed. It's the guy in the bed. Like, I don't know, for me, it immediately put two and two together, like, this is Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you do see sort of remnants of that throughout the movie as well.
Yeah,
So
and they
glimpses
plant a
of his
lot
face
of
and stuff.
that flashbacks and whatnot into that. So you're like, oh,
Yeah.
is it him, or is it the orderly, or is it somebody else? But you know that you're starting to piece together the fact that everybody is connected.
Yes.
Kind of like what's that movie? Crash? I think it's called Crash. But there's like this massive car accident, and you find out that everybody who dies in this accident or is injured in this accident's lives are interconnected somehow.
Interesting.
I'm gonna find it. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but my best friend when I was like 20, he's like, you've got to watch this movie, it's so good. And when I watched it, it blew my mind. It was so fantastic.
Yeah. And that's what gets you with it as well, is like you see how it ties in, like how Larry's pen got planted is clearly John's taking it in the hospital, and you immediately get a weird vibe from that orderly as well that mentions his name. So you're like, he's somehow got to be intertwined in this as well.
He's just creepy anyway.
Yeah, exactly it. He's clearly just part of this. And then it finally, like, the only person's piece who is really missing is Adam's.
Yeah. Which we find out later on, because at this point, the orderly, which you don't find out until a little bit later on, has actually taken Diana and Allison captive in their home. And Allison is just brilliant in this scene, and the scenes that follow that she's in. I'm not too sure who the actress is, but she's just really fantastic.
Yeah,
and
she does.
She was casted so well for the role.
Yeah. 100%.
And so since Singh's death, Tap has been discharged from the police force because he went a little bit cuckoo, and he's set up camp across the road from the Gordons' home.
Yes,
watching
in a crazy little. It really is that, like, that really unhinged. Like, he's clearly lost his mind, and he's got like walls filled with like stuff about the Jigsaw killer, and
he's got his murder wall.
Like, yeah, he's got his murder wall, and then some. Like, it really is. He's like surveilling almost like Jigsaw does. It's like, it's super baffling. And that's sort of like when he's surveilling is when you figure out that orderly is the one that's in the house, and it's not Larry.
Yeah, but he's watching through his lens, and he's like, oh, does your husband know you've got a friend over? And it's just like, you idiot. You blind fool.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you've been watching this house for how long, and you've never seen that guy show up, and now all of a sudden it's a boyfriend of the wife?
Yeah.
You dickhead.
Yeah, but he's so hell-bent that it's Larry that he just,
that killed his partner.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where he kind of
on anyone else.
Yeah, he lost like his touch in reality.
He definitely did.
See ya.
Yeah,
so,
exactly right.
So we go back to the bathroom because we haven't been to the bathroom for a while.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen what's going on with Larry and Adam, and Larry finds a box containing 2 cigarettes, a lighter, and a cell phone, which he eventually finds out that it only can receive calls, it can't make calls. And he kind of discusses his abduction story.
Yes.
That he was, out with a woman, and then he saw a pig-masked person, and then he just blacked out. He doesn't remember anything.
Yeah.
And on I don't know, I can't remember if it was like another recording, but it tells him to poison Adam with the blood.
Well, in the box, it has a little note that says,
oh, that's right.
like,
yeah,
because at the start of the recording, it says, with that much poison in your body, the only thing to do is put a bullet to your head. And the card says, as a doctor, there's more than one way to kill somebody than a bullet.
Yeah.
And it makes him think to that poison thing, and he's like, oh, I see. Poison the cigarette, and that'll kill him.
Yeah. And so Adam fakes his own death.
Yeah,
because
which I thought
obviously
was
been
smart.
watched through a camera. Yeah, they figure out.
Yeah. I was like, because they've obviously found out, like, Yeah, at
They're
one
being
point, Adam
watched.
talks about cutting himself out or something like that, or cutting Larry or something like that, and he notices that that piece of glass that he broke off the mirror when he threw his saw earlier was like a two-way mirror, so there was somebody watching in. So he breaks it down, and they find the camera watching.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how that all comes ahead. So what Larry does is he dips the butt of the cigarette in the blood, and the poisoned blood, and then puts it back in the box. But there's 2 cigarettes in there, and he switches off the light, which obviously causes static across everything, so whoever's watching can't see, and he whispers really quietly so he can't hear. And that's when they do the whole like, oh hey, so you still want that cigarette? And he throws over the good cigarette, and old mate fakes his death and then gets the shit shocked out of him. He's not dead.
And Larry thought he was faking it. And he's like, why would I fake being electrocuted?
Yeah, exactly it. Until
he's
Larry
like, they just want to see if he's still
alive.
alive. Yeah, and then he was like, yeah, see, told ya.
Yeah, exactly it. Which is
You
what
idiot.
you do. You just like, told you so.
Yeah. And then that's when we find out about Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, we don't find out about Adam yet, because they actually get a phone call from Allison. But before that, oh, no, this is the phone call.
Yeah, this is the phone call.
Allison says, don't trust Adam, don't believe his lies.
He knows
blah,
you.
blah, blah. He knows who you are.
Yeah.
And so, basically, Tap had been paying Adam to spy on Larry.
Yes.
And in the bag that the hacksaws were in, there was also some photos of Gordon's infidelities. Him meeting with somebody.
Yeah,
And,
it was a whole plethora of things. So it did, like, at the start of the movie, it's like, well, why, like, you know, why did you strategically place that bag in this, like, you know, it's clearly that Adam's put that, the saw bag in the bathtub with a purpose, which comes out at this point. So they get the phone call saying he knows who he is, and Larry's like, you know, my wife just said you know who I am. And Adam outs with it, you know, some big tall black dude with a big old scar on his throat was paying me $200 a night to take photos of you. Which is when Larry clues on that it is Tap. And then, he like throws the photos across, and he's like, oh, you know, I remember it all now. I know how I got abducted. And he'd fallen asleep after taking photos of Larry. As we did see in Larry's montage, you see like he puts his head like his head in his hands, and you see a flash happen. Yeah. And it turns out that flash was Adam. He's like, you don't remember having a photo taken of you in the car park? And he throws the photos across, and he's like, I remember what happened now. And he talks about how we see how he had come home from that night of taking those photos, and he'd, you know, right after he's obviously left that car park is when Larry gets attacked and taken. Yeah. And then after that, Adam's gone home to do his photos. He wakes up in his red room, but all his lighting is off. So strategically, he's using his camera to light the house to see things. Yeah. And
which is just spooky. Because he
I
finds
know.
the puppet.
It's like some Fatal Frame stuff right there. Like, real petrifying. Yeah, the puppet laughing. I would have attacked it with a bat too.
Oh, I just would have ripped its head off. I would have screamed and ripped its head off.
Yeah, I'd be squealing as well.
And the really messed up thing is that puppet is made from scratch.
I love it.
It was never found, like, you know, most times, you know, we found this really creepy thing at an antique store. No. James Wan made this thing.
I love that.
He created it, and it's just...
Because it looks like Jigsaw's created it as well. It's so... It really builds into... It's just what helps round out this movie as such an amazing movie, is it gives it that genuine, like, realistic feel.
The DIY.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is.
It really builds that, like... Because it makes you feel like you could do that. Like, it looks like something some kid put it together in a paper mache class, which is, you know, that's you know.
Terrifying.
Yeah, exactly it.
Puppets scare me. Puppets and dolls terrify me. And my grandma recently went to Monte Cristo in Junee.
Oh, wow.
And I've been there a few times, it's amazing. And there's a woman who has started displaying her doll collection there.
Oh, that would be creepy.
Yeah, no, fuck that.
Yeah.
No. And Grandma's like, oh, it's really cool.
I bet.
I bet it's really cool. Yeah, exactly. I was like, yeah, you think Monte Cristo's haunted now?
Yeah.
It's like 20 times it now because of the fucking dolls that this lady brought in.
The crazy jigsaw dolls.
Oh. So, So in those group of photos, Adam actually finds a photo that he didn't take. And it is a photo of Zepp.
Yes.
And we already know that Zepp is the captor because we saw through Tap's camera that it's him.
Yes.
But Gordon is now like, holy fucking shit, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, this is an orderly from my hospital.
Who's doing this?
Yeah.
Which we find out later. There's a big twist to all of that, which is amazing and just so brilliantly set up.
It just ties everything together.
Yeah. And sorry.
No, go on.
I was just going to say, this is when it hits 6 o'clock.
Yes.
And shit, hell just breaks loose.
Mm-hmm.
Because Zepp goes in, obviously, with his gun, and he's telling Allison time's up, Larry's failed, I have to, like, you have to die.
Yeah.
And Allison, like, wrestles him, she's so badass.
Yeah, so she manages, just before this, I think he walks away for some reason, and as he goes to come back, she's sort of loosened herself, and she's like, Mummy just needs you to be strong, and she gets herself out of it, and then she pretends to tie herself back up when he comes back, and that's when she's able to wrestle him, which I thought was super brave of her, because again,
me too.
That fight or flight, being a mother, you'd be like, I need to do anything I can to protect my child.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that if they didn't put that in the film, I wouldn't have noticed that it was missing, but I kind of would have been like, why?
What happened to them?
What happened to them? Yeah. So
exactly.
They kind of create a story arc for every single person in that movie.
Yeah.
Except for the female detective. She just kind of she disappears.
She's kind of there. Yeah.
But everybody else has a start, a middle, an end. Everybody. It's amazing. And nobody... In a horror film, I think that's really hard to do that for, 8 different characters. Yep,
exactly right. And obviously during this struggle, gunshots ring out, and that's when Tap's just like, shit, something's going on over there. And he makes his way across.
And he goes over there, and because Zepp's been shot in the leg by Allison.
Stabbed in the leg with a pair of scissors.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that was so brutal. She gets scissors
out of the drawer. Yeah, and she stabs him in the leg.
Yeah, I was like, you are so cool.
Yeah, she's so crafty. That's like, that's good awareness of your surroundings. Just like, I have scissors in this drawer. I'm
going to go over here. I'm going to fucking fuck your shit up.
Yep, exactly it.
She, I know she's not in the movie that much, but she makes such an impact.
She really does.
She's great.
Exactly right. Even like that scene right sort of at the start when they're telling Larry's story and how she's like, it shows the breakup of their relationship. Like she clearly knows that he's cheating and stuff like that.
That something's going on. And
yeah, exactly.
Because she's saying, why do you stay if you're not happy?
Yeah. And he's claiming he is, and she's just like, I'd rather you say you hate me. At least there'd be some passion in it.
Yeah.
So it's basically setting up the arc of a loveless marriage at this point.
Yeah. And why Larry is there.
Yeah. And also it does set up earlier in the movie why Zap's there as well, because they talk about like the young girl. She's like, there's a man in my room type thing.
Yeah.
And then it shows their abduction at the home as well. Like him coming out of the bedroom like, sorry little girl type thing. And Yeah, it really...
Those scenes terrify me because home invasions are like my least favourite horror movies.
I hate having my wardrobes open and stuff like that, so I can't
I don't have wardrobes in my room. Thank God.
Yeah, no, I've got sliding doors and it just petrifies me. I hear the cats move them and I freak out because cats like to get in the wardrobe and they know how to. And I hear the doors move and I'm like, someone's going to get me. So
someone's going to kill me, I'm dead.
That sort of... Yeah, that's it. That sort of thing petrifies... I'm not going to sleep tonight.
I'm probably going to get off
coming
this call
for me
and watch Haunting of Hill House because Haunting of Bly Manor comes out soon. So I really, really want to watch it and finish it because it's a Mike Flanagan film and he did Doctor Sleep. And,
nice.
Sorry, it's a TV show. And Mike Flanagan, who did Doctor Sleep, I loved Doctor Sleep.
Mm-hmm.
It's... Have you seen it?
I haven't, no. I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Oh my God, it's so good. It's not scary. It's just fantastical and magical.
I love that sort of stuff. I'll have to watch it.
And like for a horror film is like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's just really cool. The only thing is like there's obviously dead people because they see ghosts. So
yeah.
So everything is starting to come together.
It
like
really is.
Why everybody is there. Adam's there because he, Jigsaw actually calls him out on his voyeurism.
Yes.
Like you watch people from the dark and blah, 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 blah.
Now you're going to know what it feels like to be watched.
Is he a stalker? Is he a creep?
Yeah.
Is he
And that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
But he's
until
basically
you find
just
out
a PI
that
photographer.
he gets... Yeah, you find out he gets paid to take photos of people for their indiscretions.
Yes.
And I think that it's kind of... That makes you question his actions too, like, is he a bad guy for doing that?
Yeah, exactly it. But at the same time, he talks about like how he lives in a shoebox apartment, struggling to feed himself week to week. So it's kind of like he's doing what he can to make ends meet. Yeah,
and it's like, do you punish him for that?
Yeah,
like how does that work? So yeah, and we find out obviously Larry's there because he's apparently cheating on his wife. Although in the hotel scene, he doesn't actually do anything with the medical student, who we find out because we see her at the start of the film. There's actually no sexual interaction with them at all. He just leaves.
Yeah. After getting a very concerning phone call. Yeah.
And they're actually talking about John, the cancer patient. Yeah. So, which I found really interesting as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think they were discussing his treatment. It just ties it all
back together.
Everything goes back to him. Even Tap, Zep, everybody. Yeah.
Everything.
People who have, interacted with him and his treatment or his life or whatever. Yeah.
And this is, for me, like, for the most part of the movie, rewatching it, in my mind, I didn't remember it being so, like, the best way to describe it before it all made sense was, like, I was like, oh, this is just so convoluted. There's so much going on.
Yeah.
And then, what makes you forget about how convoluted it can feel at the start is when it all ties in together at the end. And I think that's one of the things I remember most is, like, I remember when I first watched it, I don't remember it being so convoluted because it all does come together at the end.
Yeah. And so you forget that there's so many loose ends happening.
Yeah.
Because at the end, there are no loose ends.
Exactly it. They're all tied together. And it's just so fascinating.
Yeah. And I think that that's why I love psychological thrillers that are considered horror movies. Like American Psycho is another one of my favorite films.
Yeah.
Because it's just so... I hated the book. Because Bret Easton Ellis is just a pretentious prick. Yeah. But I love the film.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was kind of scary that I think Bret Easton Ellis was 17 when he wrote American Psycho.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And it's just like, what's going on in your head? Are you a psychopath?
Yeah. See, I'm a sucker for, like, when it comes to books, I'm a sucker for Stephen King books.
Oh, yeah. I've been reading Stephen King lately as well.
Yeah. Because they translate really well to movies, especially when they do, like, the TV movies that are in the 3 installments. Like, for me, The Shining is a great movie, but The Shining TV installment was, like, my favorite.
There's a TV show?
Yeah, there's a 3-part TV installment.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I don't know why it's cooler to me Because like instead of having like the voice in the kid's mouth, they actually have like a vision he sees basically.
Of Tony.
Yeah,
Tony's my favorite character in The Shining.
Yeah, so they have like a vision of this guy. It's really fascinating. It's definitely something to watch.
I love Stephen King. I really do. Salem's Lot is probably just my favorite Stephen King, next to Pet Sematary, but not the remake, the original.
Yeah. See, my favorite is another 3-part like TV movie installment, and it's called Rose Red. And it's
I've got the book.
Yeah, I
haven't read it yet,
Rose
though.
Red. I love Rose Red. It's one of my
like a lot
favorites.
of my female friends are massive Stephen King fans.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Like, my mum, who doesn't like horror at all, like, would not watch a horror movie if you paid her, loves reading Stephen King and Dean Koontz, who are both horror, like, psychological horror writers.
Because they really write to set the tone.
Yeah, I'm reading Doctor Sleep, because it is really different to the movie.
Yeah.
And The Outsider, which is a TV show on HBO.
Yep, I know the one.
Yeah, so I want to watch that, but after I've read the book.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I love reading the books, but if I watch the show, like, I just won't read it. I'll be like, it's fine. The only one I'll watch is Mr. Mercedes and not worry about the book.
Yeah.
That, and I really want to watch Castle Rock. I don't know if you've... That's kind of like a merging of Stephen King universe.
I love it. I have to look into it.
It's really cool. And then there's, what was the last one? I watched it recently. I can't remember. And Needful Things is one of my favourites. Absolute favourites. It's so witty. I think that's why I really love it. Yeah. You know, the devil coming to town to collect some souls, cause some shit.
Yeah, as you do.
So, the loose ends are all starting to be tied together. Yes. And, Zep is chased by Tap. Yes. And Zep's heading towards where Adam and Larry are. And in this time, because 6 o'clock's hit, Larry cuts off his foot.
Yes. Yeah, because he gets the phone call and he hears, like, Ali say that he's out of time, bad luck type thing, and then he hears the scuffle and the gunshots and he freaks and he's like, I've got to save my family. Yeah. And he knows, he, like, ties off his leg to cut off the circulation, basically like a tourniquet, and starts cutting into it. Which
the sounds for this?
Yeah. It's petrifying. And one thing that really sort of I paid most attention to was kind of like the realism in how like, it would all happen. Like you see how he starts cutting in and the blood happens. And I work with veins. I put needles in veins on a daily.
I don't know how you do it.
It's
amazing.
I'm only a week deep and I'm still settling in, but I've done that phlebotomy course and stuff like that. And like I did have a client where I went a little bit too slow with my needle into her vein, and because she had a lot of blood pumping and a nice thick vein there, it did go whoop and squirt everywhere.
Ugh. I mean, like, blood doesn't bother me at all. I think it's so cool. But
I was like
putting a needle in someone, that'd freak me out.
I was like hiding my excitement, but I was like, oh, that's so cool. I was like washing my arm, like taking off the blood and stuff, and I was like, oh, that's awesome.
I don't want her to think I'm crazy.
Yeah, exactly it. Just hide my excitement. Thankfully I was wearing a mask so she couldn't see how big I was smiling. But yeah, it was like just the realism of it as well, like seeing the blood spurt up onto Larry's face and stuff like that.
Like that'd happen.
Yeah, that's how it happens. That's what happens when you cut through veins and arteries and stuff like that. And obviously, you very quickly see Larry
the color in his face.
Yeah, he's taken a downward turn quickly because like there are major arteries down there that if you cut through, you will bleed out in minutes.
I was going to say I don't think the what's the artery in your thigh? The It's not your carotid.
It's not your carotid artery. I should know this one because I've literally just studied it. But I know what you mean. Yeah,
it's like one of the main ones. I don't think it goes all the way to your foot though.
No, I don't think it goes all the way down
to like your thigh.
Yeah, I think stops around about your thigh, because they do an ECG in the groin, which is through that major vein.
Yeah.
So it mustn't go too far down.
Because getting blood tests and stuff, I've never really been bothered by it. I used to really overreact at school when it was like vaccination time, because I was like, I'm so scared of needles, because everybody else was like freaking me out.
Yeah.
But I'm not someone who's scared of needles at all.
Yeah. See, I don't like them coming at me, but I can administer them.
That's so strange. I have to watch. I have to watch it going into, so I know when it's going to prick me. Yeah. After that, it's fine. But I have really dark veins in my, like in here. What's that? Your elbow ditch. And so when I go to get blood tests done,
that's your cubital fossa.
Ah, I learn something new every day.
Yeah, that elbow ditch area.
The nurses are always grateful because they're like, "Oh, thank God, I can see your vein. It's so big."
Yeah. See, I'm tattooed the way up.
Mine's really purple.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm tattooed all the way up, and with veins, it's always done by feel, not by sight, because you may be able to see it under there, but it doesn't guarantee it's there. And luckily, like, the way the feather in my cubital fossa sits, it actually runs in the exact direction that my vein runs. So you can use that as a guide to get into it, which is really fun. Totally not intentional. It's just kind of how it happened. But mine are really deep set.
Oh, really? So mine are so close to the top.
Oh, which is perfect for, like, donating and stuff like that. So
I'm actually going to donate soon, hopefully, because I was waiting for it to be a certain amount of time since my last tattoo. Mm-hmm. So, I should be able to donate.
In fact, I believe it's being released today. We've done some revisions, and it's been decided that tattooing, you don't have to wait for.
Oh, just piercings?
I'm not sure. We're still working that bit out. But with tattoos, you can now donate plasma every 2 weeks again instead of having to wait.
Oh wow! Okay, that's awesome. Because I knew they changed the time limit. Because I think it used to be 18 months. Yeah. So I just hit 18 months.
Yeah, and then they dropped it to 6, and then they dropped it to 4. Yeah. And now if you're donating plasma, you can donate every 2 weeks.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. Because I haven't donated plasma before. I've donated blood.
Yeah, I've done whole blood.
I don't have... Yeah, I'm trying to convince my dad because my dad has a rare blood type. So I'm like, Dad,
yeah, definitely. Whole blood.
He's O. So he's got O.
Whole bloods he's great for, and plasma he'd be really good for as well.
Yeah.
And if you've got good veins, you're always good for plasma. Plasma you can do every 2 weeks, because what happens through the process is your red blood cells get given back to you, which is obviously not what happens when you do whole bloods. So you recover a lot quicker. Okay. So what they do is they take the plasma out, they mix an anticoagulant into your blood to make sure it doesn't clot before they put it back in. It's all separated in this fancy little tube. Plasma goes down, citrate and blood go into a reservoir, and then they feed them back to you. And just to help you on the mend as well, there is a little bit of saline that goes in at the end too. Yeah,
just make it a little bit easier.
So that's why you can donate so frequently, is because you're getting those red cells.
Well, you know what? I might go next week. I'm on annual leave, so...
Exactly. It's so worth it, and it's, you're saving a minimum of 18 lives per donation with plasma. Because they use plasma for so many things. Yeah. Most commonly, like, plasma is used for, like, cancer patients and stuff like that. Okay. Yeah. Same with whole bloods. Generally, they go straight to cancer patients. They make our biggest demographic of
I just don't even know my blood type.
They tell you. So when you donate, you can download the app, and they put all those details on the app. So I had no idea what I was. I downloaded the app, and I think about a week later, they let me know that I'm an A positive.
Oh, cool. I think I might be A negative.
Yeah, but they tell you everything. They test your blood and stuff like that as well. So if there's anything that screens through, they can tell you. That's how my mum's partner found out he had cancer, was through giving plasma.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because they test it before they do anything.
Yeah, they'd have to. Yeah. Oh my God, that terrifies me now.
Yeah. And then plasma's used to make vaccinations and stuff like that as well.
Okay, you've convinced me. I'm sold.
Plasma's definitely, it's what we're most in demand for now.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen a lot of that and a lot of friends donating and doing that. So it's really awesome. I've always been really weary because I'm used to get tattooed, like every 6 months. And so I've never been able to donate. And now I'm like, okay, well, I'm not getting tattooed for a while. So
yeah, and that's why I donated earlier this year. And I think I've got really good veins, so I think I'd be a good candidate for plasma. So
yeah, can I book on the app?
You can, yes.
Oh, that's easy because I know where the Red Cross is. It's near my old work. So
yeah,
I used to work at the tax office. Yeah. Good old tax office.
There you go.
It's such good money, everyone. If you want to work at the tax office, really good money.
I bet.
On a Saturday, I used to get like $60 an hour.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Love it.
So, he's cut his leg off. And he also shoots Adam. So he cuts his leg off, he crawls across, he gets the gun from the guy that's laying on the floor because, obviously, the blood is all dried up and gross and everything's disgusting. Yeah. And so he shoots Adam. Yes. And
again, it's that fight or flight, I have to protect my family, something's happening to them.
Yeah, so he's like, I've got to get GTFO, I've got to get out of here. Yeah. And so Zepp, at that, he shoots Adam, and then Zepp opens the sliding door. So we find out the door's a sliding door, not a push-open door.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Could have made a whole world of difference.
God damn it, Larry. And so Zepp, he steps over the body, and so Adam's behind him, and he's saying to Larry, you gotta die, it's the rules.
Yes, it's too late, this is the rules.
Yeah. And so at that moment, Adam regains consciousness and beats Zepp to death with a toilet lid.
Yes.
With the cistern lid.
Yeah.
And which is really brutal because you don't actually see it, but you see the blood start to build up.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I think he's dead. And so then Larry's like, you stay here. And they kind of share a really nice moment together when they're finally in close contact to one another. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I'm gonna go get help. Which we find out in a later movie, I think number 3, that help never came for Adam. So, yeah, it's pretty disappointing. So, oh no, maybe it was number 5 or something.
Somewhere along the line.
Yeah. So, he leaves, and
well, he's not quite left yet, because Zepp is dead on the floor, and that's when Adam is looking for a key or something.
Yes. Larry's left. Larry's out at this point.
Oh, yeah.
He's crawled away because he's not in the end scene. So
yes, yeah.
And while Adam's looking through, he finds a tape. A tape deck. Exactly the same one as what they listened to the tapes. And that's when it clicks in his head. He's like, holy shit. And he listens to the tape. And the tape is basically telling Zepp, you have to kill Allison and Diana.
Because you've got a poison in your blood.
Because he's got poison. I don't know where the antidote was for his poison.
Oh, I believe the Jigsaw had it. He's like,
Jigsaw did have it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I wasn't too sure because I can't remember that bit. And so Adam's like, holy fuck, this guy was one of us. Like, he was playing the game too. And what happens at this point?
Yeah, well, as he's discovering what's going on and everything's clicking for Adam, the dead body in the middle of the floor that's been there that whole time gets up, pulls the fake wound off of his head, just comes to, and mentions to Adam the key is in the bathtub, the key to your locker's in the bathtub, and then just walks out and closes the door.
Yeah, and that's when they have all the flashbacks of showing everything connecting together. That this guy is actually a patient of Larry, and it's just insane.
Yeah.
And then it also shows, the key going down the drain, and you're just like, oh, fuck.
And that's where Adam clicks, fuck, I'm stuck here.
Yeah.
That's
and
when
he
he's
even
shit.
said at the start of the movie on the tape, this might be the room that you die in. And that just, that end scene when, because he also shocks him as well.
Yeah.
Again. And so as he's leaving, he says, you know, most people are so ungrateful to be alive, but not you, not anymore. And he slams the door before, like, after he says to Adam, game over. And you're just like, what?
This was, it's, like I said,
he was so close to getting out of there.
I know, and it's so, like I said, it's so baffling to me that this could have gone a whole different way if Adam hadn't have lost the key down the drain.
Yeah.
Like, they could have just unlocked and walked out. Like, they could have just, you know, it's so
just unlocked them,
fascinating.
they would have left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's...
blows my mind. It's just so brilliantly written.
It really is. It's so, like... It's so well put together, and like I said, it just stands the test of time. Like, you know, watching it today versus watching it like 8 years ago or whatever is like, it really holds up no matter what. And it is just going to be one of those timeless psychological horrors.
Yeah, well, Bloody Disgusting named it as one of their top 50 most influential horror films of the decade.
Yeah, which 100% it is.
Yeah.
It is just...
And I think one Australian outlet named it, like, in the top 100 best horror movies of all time. Yeah.
And I can agree with that, because it really is just so well put together. Like, everything from the cinematography to the atmosphere to, you know, just the sounds that go with it, and the acting and the writing. It's just... It really is, like, a seamless movie.
It's just, I just love it so much, because, James Wan basically went to Lee and said, I've got this idea for a movie. It's 2 guys in a bathroom and a dead dude in the middle of the room. You write the script. Like, write the script, write the story around it.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it's just so crazy. And, you know, James Wan, he did so well because he didn't focus on anything that was unnecessary in the film.
Exactly.
Everything was necessary. Key to the film. There was no fluff. Yeah. Everything you saw you needed for everything to come together. Yeah. And
like you said, like, it just ties so well together at the end too. Like, it feels like a lot as he's starting the movie, but as it all comes together, you're like, oh, this makes sense. And it really brings the whole thing into perspective at the end. And it really just, it's that perfect climax.
It's just brilliant. And because I think James Wan and Lee did the first 2, and then they sold the rights off. And that's when it basically turned into torture porn after that.
Yeah, exactly
because, right. Hostel did so well.
Yeah. Pardon? The first 2 were great, and then after that, I really sort of lost my mojo with it.
Yeah, I think I watched up until 5, and then I lost interest. But then James Wan went on to do the Conjuring universe. Yeah. And so that's all his films, and so is all most of Paranormal Activity. Maybe the first 3. I don't know if he did the whole universe.
It's definitely his forte.
Yeah. Just really messed up movies with just incredible story building and characters and everything he does, like I said, in the nothing unnecessary.
Exactly. Everything has its place and its purpose, and it's just beautiful.
And it's so weird to say that about a horror movie.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And, like, for some reason in my mind, I thought it was so much more gory than it actually is. It is just more psychological than anything else. And that's what gets ya, is it's just, it really does. Just
and I love that every single movie is about appreciating your life. And that's why I say, is Jigsaw a protagonist or an antagonist?
Yeah, exactly. It gives you that, and again, it comes back to that morality thing that you were talking about.
What would you think? What would you do to people in those situations?
Exactly right.
Yeah. How would you make someone appreciate their life?
Exactly.
It's a bit nuts, huh? Mm-hmm. I can't remember the other deaths in number 2. Maybe I'll watch that now.
I remember, there's, like, the people that get caught in the box. There's that needle bath. Yeah, I lose it from there, because I just remember being petrified of, like, Chinese finger traps and stuff, because I thought I was going to lose fingers.
Yeah, I remember them.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah.
it's just brilliant. And everything's new. Not new, but never been done before. And now people are trying to...
Replicate
they really
it.
set this standard for that kind of movie.
Yeah.
And it's really great how they incorporated other genres into it, with the thriller and the psychological and the, you know, police investigation with, you know, it's just everything. Like, so many different elements. It just ticks every box.
It really does.
Pardon?
Just tick every box.
It does!
Yeah.
10 out of 10 from me. All the time.
Yeah, I agree entirely.
And I did message Ned earlier, and I was like, you know, it's good. But then I was like, okay, the aging of the film, like the way it looks aesthetically, is very different to what we're used to now. So watching something made 16 years ago and how it was filmed is obviously very different to what you'd want to watch now. But everything else, no fault.
Yeah, but like I said, for me, it's one of those movies that's just timeless. Like, the cinematography and everything of it, to me, it just stands the test of time. Like, I don't remember it any differently. It's all just, everything just sticks. Because it is just one of a kind.
Yeah, and they're actually inspired by the Blair Witch Project, I believe. Which is strange, but I think it's more the aesthetic of the Blair Witch, like this very raw DIY style film. Yeah. And so I can see where they were inspired in the aesthetic and whatnot for that. Yeah. So, and like I said, it didn't need a soundtrack. It didn't need music, because everything else was enough for atmosphere. The lighting, the tone, the filming style, that didn't even need I don't need a Freddy vs. Jason soundtrack for it.
Right? Yeah, no, you don't need it when you've got atmosphere like that really just sets that tone.
Oh, I'm gonna watch number 2 tonight now.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. So, before we wrap up, I usually ask people what the last horror movie they watched is.
The last horror movie I watched was the second installment of It, the newer one.
Oh, cool.
I had a little movie night with my bestie over Netflix Party, and we watched that.
Netflix Party? What?
Yeah, so Netflix have an application called Netflix Party where you can watch a movie at the same time, and it has a chat bar on the side as well, so you can chat while you're watching the movie.
I never knew that.
Yeah, it's just a web browser attachment, and it is awesome. Yeah. So definitely recommend Netflix Party.
Oh, so I'm going to recommend it to Ned.
Yeah, so like the person who's hosting dictates sort of like how the movie plays and stuff like that. So she was hosting, so she played the movie, and we had the chat bar up, and it doesn't make any noise during the movie, so you can just chat away to each other while you're watching.
Brilliant.
It's so brilliant.
I love it. I love that.
Yeah, it's so good. But yeah, so It Chapter 2, and brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. I actually haven't watched them yet.
I hated the original It with
I loved it.
Because my brother, like I said, sat on me and forced me to watch it. So coming into it again as an adult, it was a big step for me, but I loved them. I think they were done really well.
Yeah. I might watch them because I really like Bill Skarsgård. So
he's phenomenal in it.
Yeah, he's in Castle Rock.
Oh, I'll have to watch it then.
Yeah. He's in Castle Rock. I really liked him in Hemlock Grove. I don't know if you've watched that.
I haven't.
That's on Netflix. It's a vampire werewolves show, really brutal.
Yeah.
Like, not like a romanticized I'm 15 watching The Vampire Diaries kind of movie at all. Not at all. It's freaking phenomenal. For me, I haven't watched a horror movie for a while. No, I think I watched Scare Package, which is an anthology on Shudder. It's really cool. Wow. Yeah. It's just body gore, and it's just cracked me up. But and because it is a comedy, it's meant to be funny. Yeah. But I actually just finished watching Nurse Ratched.
Yeah,
Ratched on Netflix.
Yeah, I've heard that's good.
My sister watched it, and she's not one for that kind of film and like that aesthetic of a film because it's very American Horror Story. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are from American Horror Story on it.
Yeah.
Sarah Paulson, who's one of my favorite actresses in the whole freaking world. And then Charlie something, he came over from American Horror Story. So he was in the 3rd season.
Oh, wow.
And he played, did you watch American Horror Story?
Little bits and pieces.
He was in Freak Show. He played Dandy. Dandy? Yeah. He was a little bit weird in that. But he's frickin' just every second blew my mind. And I was watching it yesterday, waiting for Ned to get here. So I watched like 4 episodes, and every episode I'm messaging my sister like, what the fuck am I watching? She's like, right? And then what's so funny is our youngest sister was basically up to the same point in the show that I was, also messaging our middle sister, saying, what the hell am I watching?
I love that.
Yeah.
Family affair.
So, yeah, where my younger sister, Rebecca, she's into horror movies. She won't watch Chucky because she watched it when she was really young. See, I love it. It terrified her.
Chucky's one of my favourites.
She was 8 when she watched it.
Okay, yeah, no, not a good idea.
Maybe younger. I didn't make... it was family friends. I'd never do that to her. But she actually made a joke the other day. And, like, my sister doesn't have that much of a sense of humour. Like, she's never been a funny person. That's really mean. Beck, if you listen to this, I really love you. She made a joke in our group chat about how she's going to come as Chucky to our Halloween party. And I was just like, why would you do that?
I love it.
And my grandma's like, she was joking. I was like, oh.
See, when I was younger, my brother did the whole, like, we watched, like, The Ring or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then he left the room and he called the house from the bedroom and
My
did the
cousins
whole,
did
like,
that.
7 days. And I was like, fuck! I was, like, hiding behind the couch watching that movie. I was petrified.
I actually I'm recording an episode in 2 weeks with someone who their first horror movie was The Ring.
Oh, that's exciting.
And I was like, oh, now I have to rewatch it.
Oh, petrifying.
Yeah, there's a few that are coming up where I'm just like, I don't want to watch that movie, but I will.
Yeah.
Like I'm recording an episode on Saturday or Sunday doing Halloween, so that'll be fun.
Hell yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah. And I'm talking with Simon at the moment. I think we're doing Wolf Creek.
Heck yeah.
So, yeah.
That's cool.
It's very exciting. And I've got an amazing YouTuber from the States. She's from the Bloody Disgusting podcast. And she also has a YouTube channel, The Real Queen of Horror.
Oh, I love it.
Xena Jackson, sorry.
That's
she's amazing. I love everything she does. I watch her YouTube videos every day at the gym. So
exciting.
She's a riot. And she chose a movie called, I can't remember, Beyond the Door. And it's about a possessed baby. So
that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to be starstruck talking with her, so...
Yeah, I'm excited for you.
Thanks, it's going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
And then I'm also talking, hopefully, one of the directors from one of the Scare Package shorts.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and it was my favourite short that
That's
cracked me up.
wow.
Like, I was cackling in my bedroom. And my grandma's like, what are you laughing at? And I was like, this guy just ripped off this dude's leg and he's beating him to death with it. And my grandma's like, you are sick. I was like, no, if you watched it, it's funny.
It's funny, yeah.
You'd get it, Grandma. Don't worry. Because I'm a body gore fan, so
Yeah.
I love over-the-top gore in a funny horror movie.
Yeah.
Because it cracks me up.
Yeah.
Because it would never be possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that sort of stuff too.
There's another scene where a chick chucks like her stalker in a wood chipper, and I was like, yes!
I love that sort of scene. Like
you have to watch
person
it.
in a wood
It's
chipper
so much
is my
fun.
favorite.
It's great. It cracked me up.
I'll definitely have to check it out.
And then I watched Wolf Cop. You have to watch Wolf Cop as well.
Wolf Cop. I'm gonna have to look that up. Just
You're
the name
like,
of
really?
it is intriguing.
Yeah. That is funny.
Yeah.
I love a good comedy horror. Like
Yeah.
Evil Dead. I talked to my dad. My dad's like, oh, Evil Dead terrified me. I was like, what?
No way.
What? And then I realised maybe my dad watched it in his teens and that kind of stuff would have been pretty scary then. And
Yeah.
I was like,
definitely.
no, Evil Dead is hilarious.
Yeah.
I stan Bruce Campbell, so.
Yeah.
All right. So, can you please, for our outro, tell people where we can find you on the social medias?
On the social media, you can find me, Jem the Piercer, on everything. So JEM the Piercer. You can also find me at the PopCulturists. Every Wednesday night we do on Twitch / the PopCulturists a wrestling podcast called The Young and the Wrestlers. And then once a month we also have the bonus PPV, like the pay-per-view episodes as well, which we have one of those coming up this week. And yeah, just anywhere all over the socials, Jem the Piercer and the PopCulturists. That's where you'll find me.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on and talking about
Thank you so much for
SAW. It was so much fun.
It was so fun. Like, it's so nostalgic, and it was very exciting.
That's why I wanted to do it.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that you let me be a part of this. This is super exciting.
I'm glad you are a part of it.
Thanks. And I've got a cat scratching at my door crying.
Oh, good.